Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Jason Duggar's wedding violated one major family rule. At first glance, it seems that there was nothing terribly unusual about Jason Duggar and Maddie Grace's wedding. In fact, based on descriptions from those on hand, it looked a lot like every previous Duggar nuptial celebration. As is customary for TV's most famous fundamentalists, the reception was attended by hundreds of guests. We're assuming there was no booze or immodest attire to be seen, as Jim Bob wouldn't have footed the bill for a party with such sinful diversions. But while Jason might be content to follow most of Jim Bob's infamous laundry list of rules, he's also developed a reputation as a bit of a rebel. First, he forged his own path with an ultra-short engagement. Shortly thereafter, word got out that Jason and Maggie violated the Duggar code of decorum during their honeymoon in Greece. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised that at his wedding, Jason disregarded one page of the Duggar rulebook and offered guests an activity that's banned at most family functions. On the most recent episode of their podcast, Jinger Duggar and husband Jeremy Vuolo explained that Jason and Maggie defied Jim Bob's ban on dancing. "Some stuff happened at this wedding that's never happened at a Duggar wedding before," Jeremy said, adding, "You know what I'm talking about, 3 words. Cha slide." As Jinger explained, Gianna Duggar and Stephen Wisman had a traditional first dance when they got married in August. Amazingly, it seems that was a Duggar first. But Jason was the first to open the dance floor to guests, and it seems the decision created some problems. "No one knows how to dance," Jinger said via E! News. "This poor DJ had to be so confused as to what was happening. Beautiful first dance and then daddy-daughter dance, and then they opened the dance floor and he was playing hits. Yes, there was secular music and dancing at a Duggar wedding. We never thought we'd see the day." In other news, Jason's first weeks as a married man have been a bit rough. A fellow Arkansas resident is suing him in connection with a real estate deal gone wrong. He better hope that he's able to sort this thing out. After all, Jim Bob has probably taken him out of the will after all that dancing. Jason Duggar's wedding recently sparked interest for a unique reason. It allegedly broke a major family rule, casting a spotlight on how the Duggar family's traditional guidelines are evolving for the younger generation. While the Duggars have long been known for their conservative values and strict rules around courtship, marriage, and family life, Jason's wedding might signal a shift toward a more modern approach. For years, the Duggar family has abided by the principles laid out by Jim Bob and Michelle, adhering to a set of guidelines designed to promote purity, modesty, and faithfulness to their beliefs. Their rules around relationships, affection, and marriage have set them apart, capturing both admiration and criticism from fans and skeptics alike. Dating, for example, is usually out of the question, with courtship being the preferred term and process, where romantic relationships involve the family at every step, especially for accountability. The Duggar rules extend to physical contact too. Most couples refrain from even holding hands until engagement, and kissing or other expressions of intimacy are safe for marriage. However, Jason Duggar, the 12th child in the Duggar lineup, might have taken a slightly different path. The alleged violation of a key family rule is a noteworthy departure from the Duggar norms, which despite minor evolutions over the years, have largely stayed consistent across his siblings' weddings. So what exactly happened at Jason Duggar's wedding, and what does it imply for the future of Duggar family traditions? A modern twist on a traditional event. According to sources close to the family, Jason's wedding broke with one of the core Duggar practices by allowing greater freedom in interactions between the bride and groom before they exchanged vows. Traditionally, Duggar couples abide by strict side hug-only policies during their engagement to maintain a boundary of physical purity. But at Jason's wedding, there were whispers that he and his bride may have been more lenient with physical affection during their courtship and engagement. While there's no official confirmation from the family about these rumors, it wouldn't be entirely unprecedented. Several Duggar siblings have approached courtship and marriage rules with a slightly more relaxed attitude over recent years. John David Duggar and his wife Abby, for instance, were noted for being slightly more affectionate during their courtship than his elder siblings had been. Likewise, Jill Duggar and her husband, Derek Dillard, were the first to openly push back against Duggar norms, a rebellion that has since seen Jill distance herself from the family and its rules almost entirely. The wedding itself, breaking boundaries? Some attendees noted that Jason's wedding felt different from previous Duggar weddings, with a more relaxed vibe. Typically, Duggar weddings are grand affairs with a long guest list, complete with modest decor and a wholesome atmosphere. While Jason's wedding was still in keeping with the general tone of Duggar weddings, it seemed less restrained and more in line with contemporary styles. Reports suggest the couple even shared an intimate embrace before the ceremony, a move that would have been shocking for Duggar standards just a few years ago. The gesture, though simple, has profound implications given the family's beliefs. For the Duggars, every physical expression of love before marriage carries the weight of religious significance. Jim, Bob, and Michelle have always instilled in their children the idea that waiting to express physical affection strengthens their commitment to each other and to God. Allowing a hug or more casual interaction before marriage could indicate that Jason and his bride see their relationship differently from his older siblings. They may view affection as a natural, God-given expression that doesn't need to be restrained to the same degree. This more open approach might hint at a subtle shift in the Duggar family's interpretation of purity and courtship, one that aligns more closely with mainstream Christian beliefs than the ultra-conservative stance that initially defined the family's public image. Shifting dynamics. The impact of the Duggar siblings' own lives. The Duggar family has always championed a one-size-fits-all model when it comes to relationships, but as more siblings marry and start families of their own, the divergence from these rules becomes apparent. For example, Jinger Duggar and her husband Jeremy Vuolo have publicly embraced a more progressive Christian lifestyle, moving to California and adopting a different approach to parenting and family life. Jill, as mentioned, has distanced herself from the Duggar family rules almost entirely, advocating for mental health and counseling, two areas the Duggar family historically downplayed. Jason's deviation from Duggar norms might be influenced by his siblings' evolving lifestyles. Watching his older siblings find happiness and fulfillment while pushing back against strict family rules could have emboldened Jason to approach his own wedding and marriage in a way that felt authentic to him. Rather than seeing Duggar rules as rigid laws, younger siblings like Jason may view them as guidelines to personalize according to their comfort level and beliefs. A more open future. Jason's wedding could be a sign of things to come for the younger Duggars. With so many siblings, it's inevitable that not everyone will adhere strictly to the same beliefs, especially as they're exposed to new experiences, relationships, and environments. Each sibling who pushes the boundaries a bit further helps pave the way for the next to feel comfortable doing the same. As Jason's generation starts to marry and raise families, the Duggar legacy could look quite different from the one Jim, Bob, and Michelle originally envisioned. This break with tradition doesn't necessarily mean a rejection of Duggar values altogether. In fact, Jason's wedding might reflect a more nuanced understanding of faith, one that acknowledges individual beliefs and interpretations within a shared commitment to God. This generation of Duggars may seek a balance between honoring their upbringing and forging a path that resonates with their personal convictions. Public reaction. Support and skepticism. News of Jason's wedding violation received mixed reactions from fans and critics alike. Some longtime Duggar followers applauded what they saw as a natural progression, believing that loosening restrictions around courtship and marriage could help the family remain relevant and relatable. Others, however, expressed concern that these changes could dilute the core values that have made the Duggars a distinct, if controversial, family in the public eye.